Hey there, how you doing today? And this video we're going to be talking about self-talk, workout motivation, and it was inspired by this great book I'm reading right now, Discipline Equals Freedom, Field Manual MK1 M0D1. I don't know what that means, MK1 M0D1. I'm guessing either it has some significance, some symbolic significance, or Jocko Willink made it up to make this field manual look cool. Either way, it's pretty badass. It's a great book so far, and ultimately, it's about discipline. How discipline equals freedom. Let's see. Take a look at the back. There's no shortcut, no hack. Only one way. So get after it. Conquer weakness, procrastination, and fear. Find your will. Find your discipline, and you find your freedom. Wow, that's incredibly inspirational, and Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL commander, if you're the type of person that needs motivation, or if you're like me, a battle-hardened combat veteran Navy SEAL, talking about motivation, telling you to just get after it, tends to work for me. But let's talk about, and Jocko says there's no tricks, but let's consider for a second, what if it's not the trick as much as it is what's going on when you are saying things to yourself like get after it. Now, for some people, there's big advice about find someone who's doing what you want to do and copy what they're doing. So if you want to become successful in your job or your business, find someone who's getting promoted, find someone who's doing a great job, who's getting a lot of praise, and copy what they're doing. I mean, not exactly be a copycat, but find a way to get a little piece of them. And it's the same. If you're an author, read great books and be inspired to write great books. And let's look a little deeper though. For those of us, there's some of us that can watch a motivational video, take a look at The Rock doing a workout, or a strongman competition or something, and hear a couple words of workout and motivation and battle-hardened veterans telling us to just get after it. There's no trick, and it gets us going. Then there's a lot of other people who have the desire to get going, have the desire to want to work out, to be fit, to do something. And it doesn't even have to be fitness. I mean, this can apply in so many areas: your career, your relationships, your hobbies. You want to go bigger with your hobbies, then what are those things that you're telling yourself? So for some people, get after it works. And Jocko Willink talks about this idea of his why. He starts off the book in a great way. He talks about his why. And the reason why he works out so hard, and if you ever follow his Instagram, it's pretty neat, is he says his why is for all the people that he fought alongside with, the people that fight for our freedom, those veterans, may they rest in peace. And, the people that are still, alive and everything, thankful for what they're doing. So Jocko has a very big why of what keeps him going. Now, for most of us that, didn't grow into combat zones, for most of us that are not, combat warriors, or for those of us who have not, stayed in shape throughout most of our lives, what is it that separates telling ourselves, just get to it, between Jocko or someone else, like the average person? And yes, if you have somebody like Jocko standing right in front of you saying get to it, there's a special power in that, right? But at the end of the day, if you need motivation, you need to do it yourself. What can you say to yourself if get to it's not working? And if we look into it, what if it is having that really significant why, that really significant reason to get to it? Because get to it is just words. But if there's no meaning behind that self-talk, it doesn't really mean much. And when we think about self-talk, when we say like, let's get to the gym, and then this morning I was thinking about going to the gym, but then all these things came into my mind. I was like, I've got work to do, I have to make some videos, I have to edit my podcast, I have to plan this other book that I want to write, and all that stuff came into my mind, and I had all these reasons and some other work to do, and I had all these reasons of why I shouldn't go to the gym, and eventually I made it. But here's the thing: is most of those thoughts were going on in my mind. And here's another idea: is there's another speaker that I listened to, James Altucher, and he talks about this idea of, if you want to learn how to find a a girlfriend, or if you want to find a boyfriend or whatever, or whatever relationship you're looking for, find someone that has it and copy them. But here's the thing: is if you ask, or if you look to someone like Brad Pitt, Ryan Reynolds, any like top A-list celebrity who's famous and attractive and on magazines and all that, and you try to go to them for advice, and you're like an average looking guy, you're probably not going to be able to use their advice. The way that they live is completely different. You're probably going to want to go to someone who looks somewhat like you and has a relationship that seems to be the relationship that you want. So there's some power in, not always just following the top person's advice, because it doesn't help everybody. And with that, considering the get to it mentality, like, for some people, those words mean absolutely nothing, like get to it. But for Jocko Willink, he's got soldiers, he's got other Navy SEALs, he's got men that he fought alongside, he's got people that, look up to him, that need him to be like workout motivation or life and becoming, success motivation. So there's a lot of reasons that he has to do that. So that get to it means a lot more. And I'm just, talking about personal development, right? This is from a personal development perspective. Does self-talk work? Because for some people it doesn't work, but looking into why it does or why it doesn't might be very helpful. So what is the self-talk that might be holding you back, or that might keep you going? I mean, if we think about it, if you're waking up and you're saying, I can't go to the gym because of this, or yesterday the treadmill sucked and I don't want to go back on the treadmill, or I don't feel like sweating today, or I got so much work to do, or something like that, then the power of your self-talk, your self-talk of why you shouldn't do it, is literally overpowering the self-talk of why you should do it. And that might be another thing to talk about here, that concept of motivation. There's a lot of theory around the idea that motivation is one of two things. You're either motivated to win, or you're motivated to not lose. Or you're motivated to go after something, or you're motivated to not feel pain. You're motivated to feel pleasure, or you're motivated to not feel pain. So when it comes to that, when we know that there are two major motivations in every person, when we think about what is motivating us, is it the work? Are we going to let the power of our thoughts around work, our excuses, overpower our reason to actually go work out, to go do whatever it is that we want, to write our book, to do whatever it is that we need to do to have more freedom, as Jocko might call it, discipline equals freedom. So, and in thinking about that, why does that, the things that you're saying to yourself in your head, why are those things overpowering your desire to go to the gym? I mean, that's just one example there. And this book does a great job of sharing some of Jocko Willink's stories, as well as his philosophies, his ways of thinking. And definitely, totally recommend checking out this book, because when you can get some insight into, what keeps people motivated day in and day out, is very powerful in helping you get to where you want to go. Now, not everyone, there's a great story in this book, and I don't want to spoil all the stories, but he's got this great story about how he grew up realizing that he was ready to become a warrior. Like, he grew up and knew he wanted to be a warrior. So with that in mind, most of us don't grow up knowing we want to be a warrior, right? Most of us, grow up, and, especially today, when there isn't, the same type of mentality in some cases of all that, then it's valuable to ask, like, what can we do if, I don't plan on joining the Navy SEALs or whatever? Like, what can you do if you don't plan on doing that? But you still want to live a fit lifestyle, or you still want to have more discipline in your life, beat procrastination, as he says, conquer weakness, procrastination, and fear, right? If you want to conquer those things, I mean, that helps in not just working out, but every single area of your life. I mean, every area from your career to relationships and more. And if we don't master the things that we're thinking about, those thoughts that are going through our mind, because most of us, we're not saying out loud, get to it, get to it, get to it, and then, letting that thought dominate. We're thinking it in our head, mostly silently, probably laying in bed and just thinking, should I get to it? Should I go to the gym? Oh, I got stuff to do. I can't go to the gym right now. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. I got so much stuff to do. It's the weekend. I should take a break. Oh, I didn't eat very good yesterday, so my digestion feels weird. Or, oh, today's leg day. I don't really feel like doing leg day. Or, I don't want to do cardio. Cardio is the worst. And then I got to work out, and I can only get a 30-minute workout in today. So, all of those things are not things that we usually say out loud. They're usually just thoughts that go into our head. And, thinking about career. Oh, I can't ask my boss for a raise. No, I haven't done enough work to ask my boss for a raise. My boss would never give me a raise. He already turned down the last person. Or, it's not a good time. Or, oh, I'm asking for too much. All of those ideas. Oh, they're going to fire me if I ask for a raise. Or they're going to try to find someone else. Or they might say that I'm not valuable enough or something like that. So all of those thoughts go in our mind, but they're not real obstacles for the most part. Now, yes, if you're in, the military, and this is just, I'm just guessing at this. I haven't been in the military, so I wouldn't know. But if you're in the military, you have a lot more motivation to be on your feet than, if you're just living a regular life, right? But all of us have the opportunity to be greater than what we're thinking, because our thoughts are just thoughts. Like who's watching your thoughts? Who's listening to your thoughts? Well, you got to think about that. No one else is, and it's you. And when you think about your thoughts, like, what are they? They're just words and excuses and reasons to do something or not to do something. So if you can get your self-talk, there's two things that I'm taking away from this book. Two really great things that I've taken away from this book is, first, when it comes to discipline and, overcoming your fears, conquering your weaknesses and all that, first it's this idea that if you want to go do something and you're not doing it, there's something that you're saying or that you're telling yourself or that you're thinking about that is that is overpowering your desire to actually go do it. The idea of, and he says get to it, I think, right? So get after it, right? Okay, so getting after it, right? If you're saying get after it, but it's not working, there's something else that you might be saying that is overpowering the get after it. And then two, adding more power behind, what you want to achieve. As Jocko Willink tells in this great book, is he has a huge reason why. He's got so many people that have helped to make him the commander that he is, that respected military combat veteran commander that he is, that he, talks about in his book, that he feels it's necessary to keep up with all the things that he's doing. So I don't want to, look too much further into that, because it's just what he says in the book. I don't really know him, so those are just my guesses. But what I'm taking away is, if those are things that you want, or qualities that you want to achieve because you feel limited in your life, or you're feeling like, you're not conquering your weaknesses, you're not, beating your procrastination, what are those things that you're telling yourself? What is that self-talk that you're actually saying? And just regular self-talk, like, get after it, you can do it, you got this. If that's not working hard enough, then chances are those words are just words to you. They don't actually mean something. So how can you make them mean something? First of all, you have to, make your desire to do something more powerful than your desire not to do it, right? Your motivation to do something has to be more powerful than your desire not to do it. And then second, you got to have it mean something. It's got to be meaningful to you. It has to have, the self-talk and those words don't mean anything if, you can't imagine yourself with a fitter body, if you can't imagine yourself with a better job or more money, or if, in the dream relationship that you want or whatever, or, if you can't imagine those things, then it's hard to put more meaning behind it. Or, maybe it's not about coming up with reasons. Maybe you already have a lot of reasons, and those are the things that can help motivate you. So many great takeaways from this book, Discipline Equals Freedom. I highly recommend it. I've gotten about a quarter of the way through, and I've got some amazing things from it. And it's a super high quality book. I mean, just look at the quality of this. It's not just a regular like hardcover. A lot of thought went into this, and as we were talking about earlier, I mean, this idea of finding people who are doing what you're doing, or the two parts of that is finding people that are doing what you're doing or that you want to be doing, right? So Jocko Willink, he's this super motivated, motivational person who actually has a lot of hardened combat experience that, people are like, damn, that's pretty badass. I want to be a badass. I want to conquer my fears and weaknesses and fears, weaknesses, and procrastination too. So, what's his advice on this? So finding people that are doing what you wish to do, be disciplined, be conquering your fears, weaknesses, living the best life you can, and listen to them, what they have to say. And, you can either choose to copy them or, figure out, and it's called modeling. There's a big concept about modeling, role models, things like that, right? So, and copy them, or at least listening to their advice and applying it to your life in some way. And then two, that was the extreme, right? Finding the pinnacle people of what you want to be doing, or the type of person that you want to be, reading their books, listening to their podcasts, following their stories. And then the other part is also realizing that you also want to be finding people that are like you, that are also doing what you're doing, or that are also doing what you want to do. So, for example, I mean, Jocko Willink, in this book, he talks about growing up wanting to be a combat veteran. So if you didn't grow up wanting to be a combat veteran, wanting to be a Spartan-esque warrior, hardened warrior that has, gone to the most deadliest places on earth and fought and, dare I say, killed people, right? So, and having to deal with that, and having to deal with some of your closest friends dying, or people that were under your leadership who died, may respect to those people. I don't mean to say that lightly, but at the same time, if you didn't want to do that, if you haven't done that, then there's a big gap. So then it's about, of course, you got the pinnacle people who are, the motivators, the speakers, the public figures, all those. And then there's people that are around you who are like, right around where you are, groups, meetups, workout groups, people that are like in shape as you, or, maybe they were the same type of shape as you, and they have a great story of them transforming themselves. So those are also people to listen to. Again, back to that whole idea of finding the relationship that you want. If you want a great relationship, you don't go to an A-list celebrity on the cover of GQ who has, millions of dollars, and, everybody throws themselves at them for relationship advice or for dating advice. I mean, they might be able to, give some advice, but you might be better off, just hypothetically, right? You might be better off finding someone who has been in your shoes, who, kind of looks like you, maybe had some of the same challenges. Maybe you're a tech person and you grew up in tech, and you live in a corporate environment. Then instead of, trying to follow in Brad Pitt steps or something, right? You might want to find someone who grew up in tech, who has a tech business or does something in tech, and somehow they've found a great relationship, and ask them for advice. So carry that over to discipline in other areas like your career or fitness. There's a ton of great groups out there that you can go to and connect with people who maybe even took Jocko Willink's advice and got to it and is able to break down, you know, the ideas for motivation for you to get you motivated to go where you want to go. And with that, this is some of the thoughts that were inspired by this book, Discipline Equals Freedom, Field Manual MK1 M0D1 or MK1 Mod 1. I can't tell if that's a 0 or a O there. A great book. Looks like a pretty badass cover with Jocko Willink on there. Great read. It's not too dense either of a read. It's like one of those books that you get straight to it. You know, it gets the main idea, you get straight to it, get the ideas. And for me, I mean, I felt motivated, and not everyone is going to be feel motivated by that intense. Well, this is how I do it, and there's no secret. You just got to get to it. Not everyone's motivated by that. Some people need a little bit more of a push, and hope you. And there's plenty of extra stuff that Jocko goes into. He definitely dives in depth into it. So hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check out this book, Discipline Equals Freedom. It's absolutely fantastic.